all remember, hearing is terrible, so speak up.
All right, we're good.
John's here. John Burchett ought to be on here. We need.
Yeah, he's down below. He's on it.
Oh, he's
I'm-
on.
I'm here.
His dog's name,
So, yeah. That's a,
the most famous hound on the tug.
I know. Everybody.
Most famous hound on the tug.
And we are recording, so Bill, feel free to start anytime.
Thank you. I want to welcome everybody to January meeting, first meeting of the 2023 year. This will be our second full year, I believe, in operation. And I want to, first of all, welcome everybody. And we're starting at approximately 4 p.m. I'd like to introduce our board members who are in place. In fact, I'd like for you to each introduce yourselves, starting with Amanda.
I'm Amanda Pitzer. I'm representing Preston County here at the Flatwater Trail Commission. Thank you. And my first in-person meeting.
Very good. You're welcome. Tickled to have you.
I'm George Levitsky from Marion County.
Good. John.
John Burchett from Mingo County.
I'm John Wilson from Harrison County.
100% present. All right, with that, we've invited members from the Division of Natural Resources, and proud to have Mark Collins with us here and in charge of everything we're doing. I'm always proud to have Christy Frank as our reporting secretary, who keeps me going all through the months, and certainly Ryan Boyard, who's in his lofty position now. We're always tickled to have him supporting us. I'd like to begin the meeting by asking if there's any corrections to the November the 9th meeting minutes. Any corrections? If not, I'd like to hear a motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Right. Been a motion to approve the minutes. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, John. All right. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, moving forward. Like to start out our basic program here tonight with discussing an open discussion among the members here about the possible programs, actions, and activities that the commission wants to pursue this year. Obviously, we've had a number of different programs through the past year. I hope not a lot, but some. But let's talk a little bit about anything. You, as the members of the commission, things like the conference, programs that you might be interested in yourself, anything you want to bring up that you, Amanda, I'm sure you got.
Yeah, I have one thing, I think one thing just to offer that's new that I actually was asked about today. So I was asked as an individual representing our commission if we would be interested in teaming up with the Outdoor Economic Development Collaborative, which is West Virginia University's outdoor rec program that they just launched, 2 or 3 years ago. They're interested, they've been having a lot of interest in how to establish a water trail, right? Not surprise to us, but they'll be doing some, they have a lot of capacity to do trainings and workshops. And they have invited us as experienced water trail developers and promoters to collaborate with them on that workshop. And I thought that would be a great opportunity for our group to help share our wisdom and also make good inroads with that group. And for those who might not remember the acronym, that is the group that is behind the Ascend program, with the big donation that Brad and Alice Smith into it. So I think that would be a great thing for us to participate.
Let me ask you this, I mean, since we're a party of four with no staff, would that be open to our members, our water trails? I mean, I think that's where the help needs to come from, and that's where the help is. But we've got 14 water trails, and I'd like to see all the different programs around, recognize them and pull them into those kind of programs. So
I think it would be kind of a two-tier, like the beginner, never knew anything about how to establish a water trail, but I think this is more for folks who kind of dipped their toe in and got a couple ideas and looking to not just follow the process. I mean, we can all look at the DOH process, but that tells you nothing about property research, trust building with landowners, what accesses look like. So I think we could have a lot to offer, and with their PR machine and just the notoriety of their program, I think we would get good engagement. So we could tag on to one of their workshops in 2020.
We can tie that, and again, we'll try to communicate with our members, our Flatwater Trail members. We want to get them more involved this year. George, you got anything new that?
Well, I mean, when people ask, I keep saying, we would just like to get maps of places that you could get on the river where there are slips, boat docks, and a goal I would think is to have like mile markers on the river. So, I know along the Tiger and the Mon and West Fork, you don't have that. And that would be really nice to have a way to let people know where you can get in, get out. Those type of things. We've been talking a lot about getting things mapped, but we're still.
That's good. That's good. You're looking out for your area. That's what, Sean, John, any ideas?
Well, I think I would dovetail a little bit on what George is saying there from the standpoint of my perspective, a little different than you guys that have your own associations and what you do away from the trail here or the commission here. We talk about 14 trails, but do we know where they start? Do we know where they end? Mile markers, points of ingress and egress, things like that. I can see that all being a part of it, being helpful. But maybe taking a step back. I talked to Christy, I think last week, Christy, and just making sure I hadn't missed any information on the lists and surveys that we've supposedly had out there to begin to document the various trails. So where some of my discussion came from is I came across an app called All Trails. Perhaps some of you guys are familiar with that app, but this All Trails app that a lot of people have on their phone, and I looked up Flatwater Trails on there and I didn't find it. I think there was two that were, but there was nothing to the extent of what we talked about here in this commission. And I know the younger people and other people I've talked to, they're using those kind of resources to locate trails, to locate those opportunities. And I didn't see any representation from West Virginia trails on those types of. Now, full disclosure, if one of your groups have gotten on there in the last few weeks or months, then maybe I'm a little behind on that. But the last time I checked, it wasn't there. So I'd like to see the commission move towards trying to get these lists together and get a consolidated list of the trails, where they are, if we get them mapped, if they're where they begin, where they end, somebody get in a car and go to them. I just think that'd be beneficial for all parties.
Couple of things I'd like to point out, and that's, we're dying for attention. I mean, I've spent the last 2 years, doing everything I could do on social media, publicity, newspaper, news media, talking to agent. I've talked to every agency. And I'm saying we've got 14 trails out there who have gone through a strenuous program to design their trail according to, and it's not it's the State Trails Advisory Commission that's run by the Department of Highways that they have to go through. And Amanda will tell you, I've seen her document. It's an extensive study that identifies all the boat launches, the mileage between them, all the access points, everybody, all 14 trails have gone through that. When they finish, they come up with a document and they come back and they get approved. That once that's done, then they go back, they have to have a group that manages them, like a Convention and Visitors Bureau, like our Cold River Group, a nonprofit. And that group then is responsible for managing that trail. Now, getting them then to go forward and publicize what they've already done. They've already established the mileage. They've already created the trips. Those are required to get certified. So in our case, we have 11 trips. We have 20 boat launches. Everything is identified by signs, both on the highway at the boat launch and from the river at the launch. Not everybody's that sophisticated, but we've been doing it for 20 years. So getting that information, it's already there. Getting people like, for example, the DEP does not have water trails listed in any of their documents under those kind of classifications. We're under fishing regulations. Think about that. Page 39, fishing regulations, boat trips. Boat Flatwater Trails 14 that have been approved by a strenuous program, in some cases as much as $50,000 spent just to jump through the hoops to become approved, hasn't been really recognized, and there was no payoff when they got it finished. So we really, our group and my mission is to say, okay, Kurt Donaldson, for example, who is Western University map maker for the state of West Virginia, and I have talked and talked. He is designing a West Virginia trail map program that will show all 14 trails and will include each trip within those trails. And Sean, that's exactly what you're talking about. I mean, to be able to have that information available on a statewide basis produced by a state agency, then would give the tourism people who I've talked to, I'm blue in the face to the tourism. We've had them here. I've been there. They are very receptive to everything we're doing, but we still cannot find water trails in their publications. So we've just got to work harder, I guess. I've got to have more help because we deserve the recognition. Now, my goal, and you all have heard this in the past, we've got 47 rivers in the state of West Virginia. And as low cost as a water trail is to create, I want 47 water trails because it cleans up every river as it goes. So it's an environmental program to me. So if we can, if we could go back to the 14 that we already have and give them the credit and give them the money so that they could produce their own brochures. And by the way, if you go to West Virginia Flatwater Trails, there happens to be the Friends of West Virginia Flatwater Trails has a very active Facebook site called West Virginia Flatwater Trails. And on that, Sean, you can find all the information. It's there. I published that. So there are sources, but not everybody's on Facebook. So we have a big promotional job to do, but we have no money. I mean, we have no salary, we have no staff. Thanks to Christy, we have help. Thanks to our service here, and Brian, Chris, you guys have done a great job. But it's going to take more to do what we need to do, and we deserve the state. I work very closely with the state of Ohio and their water trail guy. Brewster Rhodes is in charge of that. Brewster's a good friend of mine. He's been to the Tour de Col. He loves it. He's the one that named us as the largest flatwater trail in the nation. So he said, Bill, you are. So I trust Brewster, and he said, Bill, you've got to get your act together in West Virginia. He said, you've got all these trails, but nobody's publishing. I said, well, that's my job. So we're going after some money, one way or the other. Thank you, thank you for
Can I
bringing
add
that.
one thing to?
Please.
John's comment?
Please.
So we happen, I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see, but sitting to my right is Ennis Smith with the Division of Tourism. And I know because I subscribe to their email list and keep in pretty good communication that All Trails and Tourism had a partnership last year. So it was a free software that if you went and signed up, you could download it for free. But that doesn't automatically, just because it's out there, it's a user supported software. So you have to have the users put the information into that app. And I will admit, the Chi River Water Trail is not on that app, but it's something that we're moving to do.
If you go to Flatwater in our website, I mean, our Facebook site, all the trails have brochures. I mean, all 14 of them have brochures. I mean, actually, they're pretty well promoted, but they don't have any money and they don't have any staff. I mean, the biggest problem we have, the Coal River Group's embarrassingly strong because we've been working at it for 20 years. But again, Elk River's done a great job, but the rest of them don't have any money. Parkersburg's doing a good job. So we've got issues there, but anybody else have anything along all?
Is All Trails is that the app that people are using now, that we could go into and build into and, or, these
John,
things come and
variety.
these apps come and go. One will be popular this year and then it won't be here next year.
Right.
So you put all your information into one, and because that's what everybody's using right now, and then next year it's gone and there's a new app out there that's all the rage. So I like the idea, but I don't follow these apps, so I don't know where to put our data.
From my perspective, the information that Bill shared regarding Mr. Donaldson, who's the mapper, I don't know what his title is, but Kurt. So to get technical, what Kurt is helping us with is creating a shapefile, which is GIS speak, which then once we have that shapefile, that can be shared and uploaded into a variety of apps or different platforms. So once we have Kurt's that what they call that base layer, then it's going to be much more easy to John either, okay, now we're going to use All Trails. Well, then in 3 years, there's some new. So I think that what Bill's been working on with Kurt is really the first step.
Yeah.
And one thing about All Trails that I've learned, because I'm working with these crazy mountain bikers now, is that All Trails is, I think, a good fit for the Flatwater trails because it is a much more of a beginner, more of an app for a tourist or a beginner, as opposed to, well, I'm going to go shred the Tiger and I'm going to go through Valley Falls. It's not really for those folks. It's for more of a visitor, right? A tourist. But we're looking to recruit to our trails.
All right. And to go along with that, one thing that I had talked about in the last meeting was coming up with a special roadside signage for Flatwater trails that have been recognized by the state. Instead of highways putting out their standard stream access sign, have a Department of Highways installed West Virginia Flatwater Trail access point sign that goes out, that they install and put out on the highway. And we could develop that in cooperation with tourism, and then have, I guess, highways would have to do the printing of the signs and the installation of them, but come up with some kind of a logo and some verbiage to direct people to your access points off of the highway. And that would tie in with the app and everything else. You get out on the road and looking for this access point that's here in the app, and you see a road sign that says here it is. So that's
John, that's an excellent idea. And again, I've noticed, I mean, the DNR is excellent at marking their own boat launches that they build. And there's there's a great big sign that says built by, but it never says anything about the water trail that is there, you know, that it's, so what we've got, we're on our own. I mean, let's face it, I mean, we don't have the money, we don't have any clout, but John, what you're talking about, I think in our experience in working with state highways, road signs, they've been very agreeable to helping us. I mean, a couple of places, we've got an 8-foot and a 15-foot sign that says boat launch, believe it or not, on the quarter G. We got,
Yeah, but
So,
it's just
don't
generic boat, it's just generic boat launch. It doesn't say West Virginia Flatwater Trail.
Right.
Uh,
no, you got, it's a good point, but we're just tickled to get recognized with a boat launch sign. You know, so
But
I
what
understand.
John's getting at is it establishes that
It's an
expectation.
image. It's an
And that,
image,
I
yeah.
hate to use the word brand, but I just said it, of what to expect. So I think that would be a great thing.
I think it is, and we'll work. I think that's something we can move forward very well. Along that same line, keep in mind, and this is a message to everybody that has a water trail, is this is the month to get your application in for your, the easiest grant in the world to get, you know, is the Rec Trails grant. And Mark Scholar, we've had here, Mark is sitting there waiting for applications. Now, they are reimbursable grants, so I mean, that's our problem with them, but if you need $10,000 worth of signs, you know, we went to the local bank and they gave us a line of credit for $10,000 because we didn't have any cash when we first started. So, I mean, when you start small, but your local bankers, so forth, and that's a reimbursable, so you get the money and you go out and raise, you know, but you put your signs up. You got to crawl before you walk. I mean, the idea is, I mean, statewide and NSC tourism, I know we're going to get more help out of tourism. And I think every water trail has a responsibility to take the pictures and help tourism with the material they need to publicize what we have. And every water trail has a responsibility to do their own promotion. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do, but we also need a lot of help. So let's kind of move on to financing. The biggest problem the commission has had is that we have no financing. I mean, we are a state agency. I mean, I've got Ken Tawny's with us tonight. I'm glad to have an attorney in the crowd, but when I first took this job, I said, what are we? I mean, what is a commission? And they explained it very clearly that we are a state agency. And I said, well, does the state agency get money? And they said, no, you got to get your own money. Well, I haven't done a very good job with that, but I think we're getting the attention. One of the things we did, the last meeting we had, I started preaching a little bit about we needed a conference before the last meeting. And we had a conference. And the Coal River Group, basically the Friends of the Flatwater Trail sponsored it. But we had almost 30 people together. We brought agencies together for the first time to meet with actual water trail people. I mean, agency managers from the highways were there. And we had people there that had never talked directly to somebody in a water trail. And I sat and watched the interaction and I thought, this is what we need. And it worked pretty well. Now we're able to talk. Wasn't that a big deal? It wasn't that costly or anything, but John Burchett I just love what Tug Fork's doing with all their people. You got Pete Runyon down there to be your Bill Curry mouthpiece. And he does a heck of a job. And they all
yes, he does.
But that's we've got to take care of ourselves, but we need help. And so to do that, after 2 years into it with no money, no office, a good staff, Christy, thank you so much. We've had all the folks here, but we've, we're seeking support, financial support from the legislature. I think I can't make a real big pitch in our meeting, but that's what we're after. The message goes out. We need funding directed towards accomplishing the things. And for example, the list of areas that we would like to be able to address as a commission and help with through financial would be financial support for signage and highways. We'd like to be able to direct people or finance people, for cleanups. Harold Ward with the DEP, loves what we do to clean up rivers. Every water trail has cleaned up their river. That's why I want 47 water trails, because we could clean up every river in the state. It'd be the most success, and we do it with volunteers. They use our volunteers to do what they get all that money to do, the test. I think the money ought to be reversed. They ought to give it to our staff. And then we can test it after they get through. But anyway, we need more help like that. So funding through those groups, we need a source of funding created by the legislature that would give us a baseline, this commission, a baseline to go out and generate more money with. If we had a fund here that we could direct and we could send to these 14, if we had grants that we could help all 14 of these with signage alone. I mean, it would be a godsend for them. If we had a grant that we could help all 14 of them create a stronger organization, an independent 501c3 thing that we could help pay the legal fee to get them set up, that would be a godsend. So there's things that if we had more funding that we could be doing to help all 14 of. The way to do that in the legislature apparently is to create maybe a grant back to us through the DEP or the DNR that would be funded to the DNR, which could be allocated to us to allocate to others. Some sort, however that works in government, but the DNR is not going to give us money. That's the first thing Steve McDaniel told me when I got into this job. He said, "We'll help you do whatever, but don't ask for money." And I have. So that I think is the thing. And we're talking, and we want you and all of it to talk to your legislators, all of you out there, and talk. Right now is the time to do it. We need to generate that funding, a source of funding, so we can move forward in the future.
May I add one thing?
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. So you mentioned the recreational trails program, and some legislators out there, maybe they go back and they watch this and they're listening.
Yeah.
And they say, well, what about RTP? You already have a program that funds those things. And I want to address why this money is even more valuable. One is with the RTP grant, there's a minimum ask. You have to have a $50,000 project and it requires a 20% match. So if you only need if you only need one boat launch, that's not a $50,000 project. Also, once you touch that money, you're kicking into federal procurement, NEPA, a whole bunch of red tape. A state program would allow us not only the ability to match that money, if someone does one, Coal River wants to go for a big one, well, there you've got your match, but also do smaller projects. And really, as you've articulated well, water trails are very cost effective.
Sure.
And we could do some little work at many, many sites.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for letting me add that,
Very
Chairman.
good. All right. Well, that being said, any other comments regarding financing and what we might be able to do in the future on that? If there's nothing more in that area, let's go to, again, we talked about the annual Friends of Flatwater Trails. This commission, again, has no money to do that, but I'd like to get this commission to advise us, should we do this again? And if we wanted to do it again, what would be a good date in this coming year to do another conference? And where would we want to hold it at? So any conversation about that? We had what was it in August? I think we did the one last year. I'd like to do one actually midsummer. I'd like to really be together in the center of the action on the river and do something on the river as a conference and bring everybody together again. And again, we had some of our trails there, but we certainly didn't have all of them. I'd like to do something that we could promote and get all our trails there. And then we can bring the agencies, Ennis, you could be there. I would love to get the Department of Highways people there, get them, they got the money. and that kind of thing, so that we could all again have that synergism, meet together and look eyeball to eyeball, and people come away saying, oh, these guys, maybe we ought to give them some money. Maybe we ought to help them. Maybe we ought to give them some science. So is there a date that, and I should have a date selected, but I'd like to see something done probably in, maybe in August. Maybe August is the earliest we could do it, but
I'm open to whatever. Of course, if it's July or August, we don't want to schedule anything on the cheap because it's too iffy. So I'll still have to come your way.
Yeah.
But I'd be flexible as long as we accommodate, I would say, school letting out. You get it sometimes after mid-June. So folks can,
something like that, probably August. I mean, early August seems like it could be. Does that make sense to you all? We can pick a date, come back to you. But if you can narrow that down, we'll start communicating. I have to communicate with everybody. So I want to get everybody's input, and we'll do whatever it takes, because that's not the commission's job. That's the friends of.
a Saturday.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seems like Saturdays are.
Yeah, Saturday, good.
August the 5th is the first Saturday.
Okay, so with that done. We're going through our next category here. All right, with that done, again, we have a opening now for and we need a nomination now for recommendations for a commission, not a new commission, but a commissioner, since we have a present commissioner whose time is running out. And at this point, do I have a nomination for any new commissioner?
I'd like to nominate the reelection of Amanda Pitzer to the commission.
Any other nominations? If there's no other nominations, then we really don't have a vote necessary. All we need is, how does this read?
I think you say I'm not.
No vote is needed. A vote required, no more required. All right, if I could have at this point a vote from all the commission members for Amanda Pitzer, we continue.
Aye.
Aye.
John?
Yeah, they
He
did.
said aye.
Okay, that, and I am not allowed to vote, so that's, we have, you're acclimated by entire
Thank
group.
you. Appreciate
We
you.
love having you back again.
And you asked me 2 years ago, I said no the first time. I was pregnant. I'm happy to serve. Thank you.
You carried through that very nicely. All right, with that done, the next order of business is to set a date for our next meeting. Is there a motion to set a date for our next public meeting?
I guess I can still make a
Mhm.
motion.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'll move that the next meeting of the Flatwater Trail Commission be held on April 20th, 2023. Wow, that seems like a long time. At 6 p.m.
All right, is there a second to this motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the date of the next meeting for the Flatwater Trail Commission on April 2023 at 6 p.m. With that, is there any new business to bring before the commission? If not, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Bill, could I suggest something?
Certainly.
One of the comments was about working with Kurt Donaldson on mapping the trail. And I have worked with Kurt on mapping the rail trail. We have also have our own project going of mapping public access points for our water trail. And we have some public access sites that probably no one is aware of. So, for example, we own a tract of land at Queen Shoals. We own another one just south of Ivy Dale. And unless you're Elk River Trail related, you wouldn't know that. So it might be a good idea to reach out to the water trails and let us take a look at what he's doing so that we can try to get the map as accurate as possible. I mean, right now, we're working on our own mapping project. Maybe we could have avoided some work had we known that this was going on.
Well, that's a good point. Now, a cautionary tone for somebody that's been in the water trail business for 20 years. Your public access points are points of contention as well as points of safety. So what we try to do within the Coal River Group, just our experience, we have 20 boat launches. And those 20 boat, out of those 20 boat launches, I guess 15 of them or so are DNR produced creative. The others are ones that have been built either by cities or counties, of which they have the BREM insurance program that covers the community access. You have to be very careful because somebody's got to take that responsibility. If you advertise that you own it, and the lawyers have told me, you know, if you've got a launch over here that you say you might want to go over there, if you do that, then you very likely are responsible for whatever happens on that location.
West Virginia Code Section 5B-1A-4, I believe it
This
is,
guy.
says that as long as you do not charge for access, you do not have liability, culpability for anybody that might get hurt using it.
With that said, the idea of advertising a launch that you aren't responsible for, to me, is dangerous, very dangerous. If you are doing, again, safety is something that we're responsible for 18,000 paddlers a year. And to be careful with them and make sure they get the right kind of information, I'm just very cautious on doing anything but the 20 that we identify that we know we've got insurance on and all that. But it's just a practical thing that we follow. As far as people coming from out of state, tourism and all that kind of thing, again, you gotta look out for your customers. So the other problem is we have, I don't know what camping would be, but we have a huge demand for people wanting us to advise them where they can camp within the Coal River Water Trail system. And we have no legal way to tell them that they can camp on a public beach along the river system. But they want us to say that, and I just keep telling people, no, it's up to the individual. You're on your own as far as that. I'm not identifying a specific area that you can camp at to do that. And I mean, all 14 trails have got to follow those common sense guidelines to do that. Anything else?
Now, I've just observed that the DNR does have an existing matching grant program that we can get a $25,000 match as long as we're spending money on a rail trail. So it might be very easy to pattern a program such as that for Flatwater Trail, Water Trail.
That's a very, very important, because I hadn't heard that. And that's a $25,000, but it's for the rail trail.
Rail trails.
Okay. Any other matters that the commission wants to bring forward?
Yeah, work with tourism so they loosen the strings on getting money to prepare the brochures.
Yeah. Ennis knows, I mean, we're doing everything we can, but yeah,
We'll talk more.
we need more of everything. All right. Don't forget.
I'm gonna add a congratulations. The West Fork Water Trail is receiving, and I can't remember the exact count. About $250,000 in congressional directed spending for a new boat launch. And I don't know if that came from Senator Manchin or Senator Capito, but it has been published. And
Well, I was talking to the
Yeah.
Harrison County delegate, and he said it's several.
several launches.
Several different.
Yeah, well, it sounded like it was just like the fanciest boat launch ever.
The whole marina.
Elk River has all those.
Yeah.
And you
So
got the
it's
fancy
so
boat launches.
Congratulate.
They got gates.
So we'll look into that.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
you know, but keep in mind, that's so important, but use social media. I mean, I post every day. Every post I put on Cold River Group, I share it 19 times. And that's 19 different groups. Now, if you count that up and you look at, I was in the PR business and advertising one. If you look at the number of views you get of that, I can get 25,000 views out of one post. So you all need to learn how, make sure that you're going in and checking what everybody's putting up and you're looking at the right direction, because there's a lot of news being out there. Who's getting it and who's reading it? I can tell you who gets mine, but I can't tell you who gets yours. But
Well, I haven't seen any news on that yet.
I did, I saw
Oh,
one,
you
I saw that, but again, most of these folks aren't that sophisticated
Right.
to really be able, and we need to have a whole conference on how to use social media because it's free. I mean, it's effective, Our Tour de Cole coupled with the Yak Fest, we're looking at 20,000 people in our community down there in one weekend. So, I mean, I know you guys have done that for years, but look how it grows. Anyway, anything else for the good of the? Thank you all. With that, the meeting's adjourned.
Well, we
We
gotta
haven't had a
do
motion.
we gotta do the
Oh,
pomp
go
and
ahead.
circumstance to do that.
Sorry. I'm starting. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion that we adjourn the January 23rd, 2023 Flatwater Trail Commission meeting.
Thank you, John.
I will second that.
Second. All in favor? Say aye.
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 No nays? Meeting's adjourned.
One other thing, if you're talking about standardizing signs, remember that a lot of our trailheads and water access points are the same. And they already have their, DNR already has its standard design for the rail trails. So I don't know what influence that should or shouldn't have on them. Do you put up 2 signs or?
Well, again, water trail people are water trail people, they're coming by boat and they're, so